Retroversion. The usual position of uterus is one of the anteversion and anteflexion, in which the uterine body is bent forwards at its junction with cervix. Version refers to the direction of cervical canal, whereas flexion refers to the inclination of the body of uterus at the cervix. The normal uterus is not a static organ. Its position is altered by the state of the bladder, which when full displaces the uterus backwards. In most cases of retroversion, the uterus is also retroflexed, so that the body of the uterus is flexed backwards. Etiology. It is difficult to explain why the uterus is normally anteverted and anteflexed. The round ligaments do not maintain this position on their own. Although they are used to correct the retroversion during surgery, it appears that the position of uterus in relation to the cervix is largely inherent in the uterine myometrium. Mobile retroversion. The uterus is retroverted in 20 to 50% of the patients with no obvious gynecological symptoms. The uterus is usually retroverted in case of prolapse, but it is difficult to say if it precedes prolapse or if prolapse causes the retroversion. Sometimes displacement of uterus is caused by tumors such as anterior wall myoma, ovarian cysts in the pelvis, which push the uterus backwards. Fixed retroversion. Fixed retroversion means that the uterus is bound down by adhesions or tumors in the retroverted position. Most fixed retroversion result from pelvic inflammatory disease such as salpingo-oophorytis, pelvic tumors. In salpingo-oophorytis, the edematous, the distended fallopian tubes prolapse behind the uterus and partly by their weight, partly through the formation of adhesions to the posterior surface of the uterus and pull back the uterus. In the process of healing, adhesions form which bind the uterus firmly in its retroverted position. Fixed retroversion is also caused by chocolate cysts of the ovary and pelvic endometriosis. Symptoms. The significance of retroversion per se in clinical practice has declined. This is due to the appreciation of the fact that the symptoms earlier attributed to this displacement are not to it. Rather, they are related to etiological factors causing the retroversion. Therefore, asymptomatic retroversion does not need any treatment. Dysmenorrhea. Both congestive and spasmodic dysmenorrhea have been wrongly attributed to mobile retroversion. The incidence of dysmenorrhea is same in women with retroverted uterus as it is with women with anteverted uterus. Menorrhagia. Menorrhagia associated with mobile retroversion is either due to myohyperplasia or abnormal uterine bleeding AUB. A manual or surgical correction of retroversion will not relieve the menstrual symptoms. In fixed retroversion, menorrhagia is due to pelvic congestion caused by pelvic pathology. Pressure. A normal sized retroverted uterus does not cause pressure on rectum or on the bladder. Backache. More likely, the backache is due to orthopedic cause and not due to the retroverted uterus. Dyspareunia. Of all the symptoms of retroversion, dyspareunia may be one which is genuine and attributable to retroversion. During vaginal examination, the body of the retroverted uterus is tender and the patient may wince when it is touched. Besides, the ovary may prolapse in the pouch of Douglas and thus cause dyspareunia during coitus. Following coitus, she may complain of dull ache in the pelvis that persists for 12 to 24 hours. It may lead to frigidity and marital disharmony. Infertility. To implicate retroversion as a cause of infertility, it is necessary to perform all other investigations for infertility. A lot of emphasis has been given to retroversion in a woman with unexplained infertility. Sims-Hahner test, postcoital test with abundant motile sperms seen in vaginal pool and cervical mucus rules out retroversion as a cause of infertility. On contrary, failure to detect sperms in the cervical canal indicates that the cervical canal is away from the seminal pool and is not accessible to the motile sperms. In such a case, retroversion may be the cause of infertility. A surgical correction of retroversion may result in conception in such a rare situation. Fixed retroversion due to salpingo-oophorytis causes infertility because of associated tubal blockage. Abortion. Retroversion as a cause of abortion has been greatly exaggerated. Fixed retroversion would more often lead to infertility than abortion. Retroverted gravid uterus causing retention of urine. retroverted gravid uterus, especially in multigravida, may cause retention of urine around 12 to 14 weeks of pregnancy. This is a result of failure of retroverted uterus to correct its position, thus causing overstretching of anterior vaginal wall and lumen of urethra. In most cases, the uterus tends to rise out of the pelvis at 12 to 14 weeks. However, in an acutely retroverted uterus, this may not happen, thus resulting in retention of urine. The management of such a case comprises placing an indwelling Foley's catheter for 48 hours, allowing urine to escape slowly after the initial placement of the catheter. Subsequently, women may be asked to lie in extreme lateral position or prone position to prevent recurrence of such an event. Diagnosis. There should be no problem in diagnosis of retroverted uterus on bimanual vaginal examination. Rare cases, uterus felt in pouch of Douglas may be mistaken for a ovarian tumor or a fibroid. Treatment. If the retroversion is mobile and the patient is free of symptoms, no treatment is required. Pessary treatment. If the patient complains of dyspareunia, backache, and the uterus is found to be retroverted, uterus is bimanually replaced and kept in the anteverted position by inserting a Hodge pessary into the vagina. The pessary is made up of plastic. It is retained in the position for 3 months and then removed. If the symptoms persist in spite of uterus being in the anteversion, one should look for other causes of underlying symptom and no operative treatment for retroversion should be undertaken. This is known as the pessary test. Recurrence of symptoms as soon as the pessary is removed strongly suggests retroversion as the cause of the underlying symptoms. Surgery. Indications are the fixed retroversion requires surgery for primary organic lesions such as pelvic inflammatory mass and tumor. At the end of surgery, uterus is brought forward by shortening the round ligament as mentioned below and maintained in an anteverted position. In patients for whom the pessary test proves the symptoms and infertility are caused by retroversion. Following tuboplasty, myomectomy operations, uterus is ventrosuspended to prevent or minimize the formation of tube and pelvic adhesion. Ventrosuspension. It is one of the most popular surgical procedures to correct retroversion. Is modified Gilliam's operation, in which round ligament is first held by non-absorbable suture close 1 cm to the uterine cornua. The ends of the suture are left long. A long curved forceps is now passed between the anterior rectus sheath and the muscle at the level of the anterior superior iliac spine. It is now directed close to the internal abdominal ring into the space between the two layers of broad ligament towards the uterine cornua. The forceps point is then pushed through the peritoneum of the broad ligament and the ends of ligature around the round ligament withdrawn along the tract of the forceps. These ends are now anchored to the anterior rectus sheath. The round ligament is thus drawn up against the anterior abdominal wall. This operation are frequently undertaken in the past with a mistaken impression that it will improve fertility. However, it is of historical significance in modern times. Plication of round ligament. Shortening of the round ligament by plication using a non-absorbable suture in a simple form of ventrosuspension operation for fixed retroversion is associated with organ pelvic disease and fibroid. Bardley-Webster operation. The round ligament are passed through the anterior and posterior leaves of the broad ligament and are sutured to the posterior surface of the uterus, thus shortening the round ligament and ventrosuspending the uterus. Inversion of uterus. In inversion, the uterus is turned inside out. At first, the fundus is pushed downwards into the cavity of the uterus, leaving a cup-shaped depression in the peritoneal surface. As a result of contraction of uterus, the invagination is pushed further and further down until finally the whole uterus is turned inside out and hangs in the vagina. If the peritoneal surface of the uterus is inspected, the fallopian tubes, the ovarian and the round ligament can be seen to pass down into deep hollow in the position where the body of uterus should have been. Inversion of the uterus is classified as complete or partial according to the degree to which the uterus is turned inside out. Acute inversion. In most cases, an inversion of the uterus occurs as a result of mismanagement of third stage of labor. Attempt to pull the umbilical cord before the separation of placenta predisposes to acute inversion of the uterus. Certain practices during the labor, such as Creed's maneuver, are well-known predisposing factors for acute inversion of the uterus. In some cases, it may be due to traction being applied to the umbilical cord when the placenta is morbidly adherent, whereas others are due to squeezing a relaxed uterus immediately after delivery. Nevertheless, most puerperal inversions are probably spontaneous, although the exact etiology is unknown. The presence of muscle defects in the region of uterine fundus may also allow a dimple to occur and progressive invagination to follow. Prevention. Proper management of third stage of labor can prevent acute inversion. Treatment. It depends on how soon after the delivery it is recognized. Ideal treatment is immediate replacement. If inversion occurs in the presence of a doctor or nurse, it should be promptly repositioned by exerting a firm and constant pressure on the inverted uterine fundus. If the placenta is attached to the uterus, it should not be removed until after the replacement of uterus has been effected. In all instances, the shock should be immediately treated simultaneously by transfusion with blood or plasma substitute. In domiciliary midwifery, resuscitation should be continued until the woman is shifted to a facility with a proper arrangement for replacement of uterus and management of shock. The best method for performing this is described by O'Sullivan. The patient is anesthetized with the least possible delay. 1 gallon of warm saline water is prepared for instillation into vagina using an irrigating can raised 3 to 4 feet above the level of patient. After gently pushing the inverted uterine fundus back into the vagina, the nozzle of the irrigating cannula is inserted into the vagina and the vaginal orifice is closed manually by the operator and an assistant. As much as 3 liters of fluid may be needed. The inversion usually corrects under the hydrostatic pressure. If this method fails, manual reposition may be attempted under deep anesthesia. As a last resort, the abdomen should be opened, and if inverted fundus cannot easily and without damage be pulled back into the position with a simultaneous pressure from the vagina, the tight cervical ring may be divided, following which uterus is resorted to its original position, and then its cut edges are repaired. Antibiotic cover should be given. Chronic inversion. Chronic inversion of the uterus occur as a result of late presentation of puerperal cases in which the diagnosis was missed at the initial stages of inversion. It can also occur along with extrusion of submucous fundal fibroid. Clinically, chronic inversion associated with fundal myoma is suspected if the woman complains of intermittent lower abdominal pain and irregular vaginal bleeding. Over the period, myoma becomes infected and causes offensive blood-stained discharge. In long-standing fibroma associated with inversion, sarcoma may often exist, which by softening the uterine wall is responsible for the inversion. A diagnosis of chronic inversion is often difficult to make. A cup-shaped depression must be identified in the fundus. In complete inversion, the cervix is drawn up. The vaginal portion of the cervix will not be palpable. In partial inversion, the uterine sound can only be passed for a short distance along the uterine cavity, and this will help distinguish the partial inversion from the myomatous polyp arising from the body of uterus. When the tumor, which protrudes to the cervix, is pulled down with a valcellum forceps, if the cervix is moved upwards, then it is most suggestive of an inverted uterus. If the tumor is a polyp, traction brings down the cervix and the tumor may be pulled from the further down through the external loss without cervix being drawn up. In chronic inversion, the inverted fundus is likely to be ulcerated and infected and may resemble an infected fibroid polyp or a malignancy. Ultrasound and laparoscopic examination of the pelvis will confirm the diagnosis of inversion. Degrees of inversion. In first degree, the fundus inverts into the uterine cavity. In second degree, the uterus fundus protrudes through the cervix and lies in the vagina. In third degree, whole of the uterus is inverted and protrudes through the introitus. Treatment. Before attempting any surgical correction of chronic inversion, the patient should be treated with antibiotics and local antiseptic packing. If it is desirable to conserve the uterus in young patient, inversion can be corrected either by vaginal or by an abdominal approach. Important step is the division of constricting ring of the cervix, after which it is easy to restore the fundus to correct its position. The transected cervix is then repaired by suturing. In vaginal Spinelli's operation, cervical ring is cut anteriorly, inversion is corrected, followed by the repair of cut edges. In some cases, rim of the cervix may have to be divided posteriorly, as in Kushner operation, followed by repositioning of the uterus and repair of the cut edges of the cervix. If it is not decided to conserve the uterus in multiparous women, vaginal or abdominal hysterectomy is performed. Inversion caused by extrusion of fundal myoma with underlying sarcomatous change will mandate radical hysterectomy followed by radiotherapy.